My son and daughter-in-law removed me from their wedding guest list. Your name isn't here. The first warning came in the form of silence. Not a fight. Not an argument. Just a silence. I stood in the marble-floored lobby of the Grand Aurelia Hotel, clutching my purse with both hands, watching couples glide past me. Women in pastel dresses, men in pressed suits, laughter echoing off the chandeliers. Everywhere I looked there were flowers, white roses, baby's breath, the kind of abundance that screams celebration. This was my son's wedding day. And yet I felt like a trespasser. I stepped up to the long registration table draped in ivory linen. A young woman with flawless makeup smiled politely. Name, please. Margaret Holloway, I said, lifting my chin just a little, mother of the groom. Her fingers flew across the tablet, once, twice, then slower. Her smile faltered. I'm so sorry, she said gently. Could you repeat that? Margaret Holloway, I repeated. My voice felt oddly loud now. My son is Ethan Holloway. She scrolled again, then looked up at me, eyes filled with something between confusion and pity. I'm sorry, ma'am, she said. Your name isn't here. For a moment, I thought I had misheard her. That's impossible, I said. I raised him, I paid for his college, I helped him buy his first car, I was there when his father walked out. She swallowed. I'm very sorry, she repeated. If you'd like, I can call the wedding coordinator. I didn't answer. Because at that exact moment I saw them. Ethan, my son, my only child, standing near the ballroom entrance in a tailored black suit. Beside him was Claire, his bride-to-be, radiant in white lace, her hand resting possessively on his arm. I raised my hand. Ethan, I called. He turned. Our eyes met. And then he looked away. Where it all began. I wasn't always the unwanted mother. When Ethan was born, his father held him for exactly 5 minutes before handing him back to me and saying, I don't think I'm built for this. 3 months later he was gone. No goodbye. No child support. No birthday cards. Just me, a tiny apartment, and a baby who cried every night like he was afraid the world would disappear if he closed his eyes. So I stayed awake. I worked 2 jobs, cleaned offices at night, served coffee in the mornings, learned how to stretch $1 until it screamed. I missed school plays, missed parent-teacher meetings, missed sleep. But I never missed Ethan. When he broke his arm at 10, I slept in a chair beside his hospital bed. When he got rejected from his dream college, I held him while he cried and told him rejection didn't define him. When he got accepted to another school with a scholarship, I cried harder than he did. We were a team. Or at least I thought we were. Enter Claire. Ethan met Claire during his last year of college. She's different, he told me over the phone. You'll love her. The first time I met her, she smiled without warmth and assessed my modest home like she was inspecting a rental property she wouldn't renew. She was polite but distant. I tried. I asked about her job, complimented her dress, cooked a meal from scratch even though my arthritis made chopping painful. She barely touched the food. She's just very particular, Ethan explained later. Over time I noticed changes. He stopped calling as often. When I did call, conversations were short, distracted. And Claire, always present, always listening. I once overheard her say, you don't owe her your life, you know. I pretended not to hear. The engagement. I found out about the engagement through Facebook. A photo of Claire's manicured hand, a diamond the size of my monthly rent, and the caption. I said yes, ring. I stared at the screen for a long time. Then I called Ethan. Oh yeah, he said awkwardly, we were going to tell you. Later. Always later. The wedding plans. The invitations never came. When I asked, Ethan said, Claire's handling that. When I asked Claire, she smiled thinly, we're keeping it small. Small apparently meant 180 guests. I saw the venue online, the designer dress, the destination honeymoon. I didn't ask how they could afford it. I didn't want to know. I just assumed, foolishly, that of course I'd be there. I was his mother. Your name isn't here. Standing in that hotel lobby, reality crashed down on me like ice water. Ethan finally approached me, his face tight. Mom, he said quietly, what are you doing here? I stared at him. What am I doing here? I echoed. It's your wedding. Claire joined us, her smile sharp and controlled. There must be some misunderstanding, she said. We told you it was limited. I'm his mother, I said. Yes, she replied, and today is about us. Ethan didn't meet my eyes. We didn't think you'd be comfortable, he said. It's a long ceremony. That was the moment something inside me broke. Not loudly. Just cleanly. I see, I said. I turned and walked away before they could see my hands shaking. The choice. I sat in my car for a long time. I could beg. I could cause a scene. I could remind him of every sacrifice. But then I realized something painful and freeing. If someone has to be convinced to love you, they already don't. So I left. What they didn't know. 2 weeks later, I received a call from a lawyer. Mrs. Holloway, he said, your Aunt Alina passed away. You are the sole beneficiary of her estate. I nearly dropped the phones. My aunt, who had quietly watched my struggles, who had no children of her own, had left me everything. The house, the investments, the savings, enough to live comfortably, enough to never worry again. I didn't call Ethan. I didn't post online. I simply moved. I bought a small house by the sea. I joined a book club, learned to paint, let myself rest for the first time in 40 years. The call. 6 months later, my phone rang. Mom, Ethan's voice sounded uncertain. Why didn't you tell me? Tell you what? I asked calmly. About the inheritance. I smiled softly. You didn't ask. There was silence. Claire thinks maybe, he began. I interrupted gently. Ethan, I said, you made it very clear where I stood. He swallowed. I'm sorry, he whispered. I know, I said. And for the first time, that was enough. The moral. Sometimes the most painful rejection is also the greatest gift. It teaches you that love should never be begged for. That respect is not optional. And that choosing yourself is not selfish, it's survival. Because family isn't defined by blood or obligation. It's defined by who shows up. And who doesn't.